Hi YouTube, Darth here. Today I want to talk about being a better teammate. Battlefield is, for the most part, a game based on teamwork and team play. However, as players, we don't always play as a team, and I want to help you think about ways to improve your game. Some simple additions to the way you play already can help you carry yourself and your team to the win. I'm going to cover the high-level strategies you can use to help you and your team, and break them down into the tactics you can use in moment-to-moment gameplay. At the end of this video, I want you to be able to consider the results behind the strategic and tactical decisions you make in the game and how they can make you a better teammate. The first thing I want to talk about is playing the objective. Now this might seem like a simple concept, and I'm sure many of you are acquainted with the colorful acronym PTFO. However, even though I'm well aware of the concept of playing the objective, sometimes I lose focus. I find myself in a tunnel vision, trying to find an enemy or get a few more kills, and I've completely lost sight of the bigger picture of the game. An example of this would be hunting down a sniper in the middle of nowhere. That player isn't contributing much to his team, and he's not stopping your team, so you have to assess this threat and probably just move on. Now when I'm playing as a lone wolf, I'm not contributing to the win for my team, so I'm always trying to reevaluate my moment-to-moment strategies and put myself in the best place to contribute. And for me, that means playing the objective. Now you can apply this mindset to any objective type in Battlefield. If your team is holding 2 out of 5 objectives on Conquest, make it your goal to find an enemy flag and take it. If you're attacking in Rush, you should look for ways to help your team plant the MCOM, even if it doesn't mean planting it yourself. Playing the objective means putting yourself in harm's way to help your team achieve a milestone in the game type you're playing. So get in on that capture point, plant that bomb, capture that flag. Even in TDM, it can simply mean securing that defensive building that makes the match much easier for your team to win. But playing the objective isn't as simple as securing one building, so how you choose which objective to play defines your strategy. You can think of strategy as the overall plan that you've got that will translate into a specific effect. When you perform an action, what will the other team's likely response be? If you think of a Battlefield game in terms of a strategy game, you can apply a strategic plan as to how you attack the enemy team. Take for example Operation Locker. I know that the game almost always descends into trench warfare at sea. However, I also know that there are strategic plays that I can make to help alleviate this stalemate, and possibly win the game for my team. If my squad can win the outside lane, I can usually make it back as far as A. I have strategically chosen A because I believe that if I were to go to B, it would simply be overrun quickly after it was taken when all the hallway warriors at C turn around. Instead, taking A gives my team time to spawn at A while my squad moves on to B. At this point, the threat of being flanked from behind is so great that the enemy team usually responds by moving some forces to B. Now because my team has A, there's a better chance that we'll hold B with our own team's reinforcements. Additionally, I don't have to worry about covering 2 sides since A is secure. This single strategic decision to attack A, rather than piling on at C, can completely reverse the course of the game in my team's favor. And you can apply this strategic mentality in many other situations. Think about Rush as an example. If the teams are focused heavily on a single objective, why not attack where the enemy is likely weakest? They can't be strong everywhere. And if you've got some teammates supporting you, you can create real opportunities where none previously existed. A simple strategy to apply in any situation is simply to think about where the enemy is the weakest. Ultimately, with your strategy, you need to take advantage of a truth about Battlefield. Teams are made up of individual players with their own individual goals. Players usually do not play as a cohesive unit, and if you can topple one part of the headless mass, the rest will often follow along with it. Provided, of course, that your team is able to capitalize on your efforts. Next, I want to talk about communication. No plan, however well thought out, is going to work if your team doesn't know what you're doing. The first thing you can do is clearly communicate your intentions to your squad using VoIP, or if you're shy, text chat. Of course, in the chaos of Battlefield, it's far more likely that you'll be understood if you vocalize. If you're not in a squad that feels much like talking, or for that matter listening, see if you can find one that will. If you're on PC, there are a number of servers out there that have invested in a third-party voice server for their game. You could even try seeing if some of your teammates are on there. As for what you should be communicating, let them know where you're planning on going. Call out when you're being attacked by enemies or when you see them. They can probably help you if you're nearby. Especially let them know if you've been killed by enemies nearby them. If they eliminate the threat, they might even be able to revive you and help you along to your goals. And even though you might not want to be cordial to the losing team, it's certainly not going to make you the guy they want to listen to if all you do is tell them how terrible they are. Remember that you're not the armchair general, and they still have all of their own goals, whatever they may be. You'd much rather be that guy that motivates people to want to play to win and to be better teammates themselves. The best way to help your team is to play your best game of Battlefield. That means thinking tactically and making good decisions in your moment-to-moment play. Think about how you can overcome the obstacles at the objective that you've chosen and how you can help your team to that objective. For example, if you're the last person in a lane, say the outside of Operation Locker, does it make sense for you to charge into those 2 or 3 enemies that are over the hill? Now maybe you'll win and maybe you won't. If you don't win, then you've lost the outside lane for your team and possibly the game along with it. A better tactical decision would be to 1. Communicate to your squad that you're alone and in trouble. And 2. Find cover and try to lay an ambush to turn the tables on your enemy. Even if you die, at least you will have bought time for your team to cover. And buying time is extremely valuable, especially when your team is on the way. Now, think about what kind of tactical choices your enemy has made. If your enemies are constantly finding you and shutting you down, maybe it's time to think about a silencer. If there is a tank that is devastating your team, you should be considering spawning as an engineer. Is there an enemy behind a wall? Try blowing up the wall and seeing if you can catch them by surprise. All of these can create openings for your team. However, these are simply reactionary tactics. If you can use strategy to plan your tactics ahead, you can mentally put yourself in front of the enemy team and really shut them down. Next, I'm going to talk about playing to your strengths. And by that, I mean not only playing to your strengths as an individual player, I mean playing your team's position on the map, your squad's role, and especially your class. Whenever you spawn into the game, whether it be at the start or at the end, you should be asking yourself, what is the best benefit you can provide to your team? Are you losing a flag in conquest? Is your team in a good position for you to pull off a flank outside lockers? What class can provide the most benefit to your team, squad, and yourself? What are you good at? Consider your choices of class as a major strength to be exploited. Assault can provide some of the best sustain and push power in the game. Healing, reses, short-ranged explosive power, and some of the most versatile firepower choices in the game. Remember your team with this class. If you see a teammate with low health, throw them a kit. If you're safe to let out a res, pick up your nearest teammate. Engineers are the master of vehicles, both keeping them running and shutting them down. For your team, you can disable and destroy killing machines at range that no other class has the same power to deal with. Being a better teammate as an engineer doesn't mean just destruction, but pull out your torch and help keep high-flying teammates rolling along. As support, throw ammo sometime. That's it. That's how you are a better teammate. But in all seriousness, support is the master of firepower and holding down lanes. There's no better feeling than seeing a whole horde of enemy in your sights with 200 rounds in the magazine. When you spawn a support, look at the situation you're jumping into. Support has some of the best tools for any job, even destroying vehicles. Make sure you're always evaluating the battlefield and figuring out what setup may work best for the current situation. And that's true of any class. And as recon, while I'd like to say you're going to be a benefit to your team sitting 5 clicks from the action as a bolt-action sniper, unless you're Vasily Zaitsev, I have my doubts as to just how much you're going to benefit your team from on top of a roof a kilometer from the battle. So how do you go about being a better teammate as recon? Even from this faraway position, which I do not recommend, you can always be the eyes in the sky for your team. A little work with the MAV can provide your team with knowledge that can fend off entire teams' worth of enemies. Better yet, try mixing it up and using close-range sensors like the tugs. You can continue to provide a wealth of information to your team while getting a ton of kills at the same time. You can even keep using your bolt action, and you might even find yourself learning to be a better shot. Everybody wins! Being a better teammate is no one thing. You aren't a good teammate simply for dropping ammo or throwing an occasional revive. You truly become an asset to your team when you combine simple actions with tactics, strategy, communication, and an overall picture of what helps to make your team successful. The best teammates are thinkers. So up your Battlefield IQ and be a better teammate. That's it for my video about being a better teammate, and if you found this video insightful or helpful, please throw it a like. If you would like to see more Battlefield videos in the future, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.